Mizzou protesters and Black Lives Matter are upset. Get this, they are upset that the media is covering the Paris attacks and not their manufactured racial sham of a protest. Well, here at our program, we give equal time to top stories, so we'll start by comparing the similar tactics employed by both ISIS and Black Lives Matter, like intimidation and coercion and threatening behavior against those opposed to their ideology. Take, for example, that the Black Lives Matter, they invaded Dartmouth University, the library, over the weekend. They harassed white students. They also harassed those that did not stand and give allegiance. And here's what they reportedly said to one white student. You can fill in the blanks. Quote, blank you filthy white blanks. Blank you and your comfort. Blank you racist blank. Oh, it goes on and on and on. I'm not even getting into the tweets right now. Joining me right now is former NYPD officer John Cardillo. John, I mean, some of these, like, just to highlight, one of them said, not taking away from Paris, we love y'all, but we have terrorists in the USA called KKK. They're mad and they're saying, well, why are people paying attention, John, to Paris over Mizzou? I mean, we had the KKK here, which was proven to be a lie. This is insane. I mean, how navel-gazing can you get?
It's ridiculous, Dana. Somebody tweeted that to me, too, and I tweeted back, the KKK can't organize a barbecue in a trailer park at this point. To compare them to ISIS is simply ludicrous. And you nailed it in the opening. They are deploying the exact same intimidation tactics as ISIS and Al-Qaeda. Follow us, support us, or be punished.
They got mad at what college was this? What university was this? They got mad because some students were playing Frisbee, and they said now Frisbee is the example of privilege now? Frisbee.
Yeah, it's Columbia, I think, in New York, right?
Frisbee. Oh, for crying out loud. This is when how many times can you jump the shark? I would think that shark has already been jumped, but now, I mean, they've gone to new heights. I mean, do they not understand? I mean, the story, particularly, John, I mean, have we found any, except for the poop swastika thing, that there was a police report that came out, no one knows who did it. I would assume that a swastika would be more offensive to the Jewish students rather than the Concerned 1950 group, which I don't think that we have record of them reaching out to any Jewish groups. I don't see any Jewish groups protesting, and that was the only documented incident of any sort of slur, anything, and what gives? Am I missing something?
No, Dana, you're not. In fact, I said this. I said, forgetting that I'm in the media world now, looking at this through the prism of an NYPD cop as a trained investigator, there isn't a shred of evidence. And a friend of mine, whose team was one of the most successful homicide teams at NYPD, made a great point. He said the swastika was biological evidence. They should have DNA tested it to have obtained the race and gender of the people involved, and they never did.
They didn't do it.
No, they didn't do it. There's not one. Look, we live in a world where everything's caught on video. If a cop is discourteous on a traffic stop, there are 14 camera angles. All of these alleged egregious racial incidents on a campus full of iPhone-carrying, relatively well-off students, not one video, not one photo. It really does it stretches the boundaries of belief.
Yeah, it does do that, and that's a really good point too about testing. I mean, that was biological evidence right there. They're complaining that the Paris attacks stole their headlines. They were saying that that their struggles with racial oppression were, quote, being erased by the overwhelming news coverage of the terror attack that took place in Paris. I can't even wrap my mind around that criticism.
Well, neither can I, because the one guy, the hunger striker, Wagner, I think his last name was.
His dad well, there's so many now. I don't even know.
Yeah, Butler. His dad made $8.4 million last year as a senior executive at the Union Pacific Railroad. If that's oppression, give me some.
I want to be oppressed like that. I would love to be oppressed with $8.4 million a year. I would love that. That's my kind of oppression.
Exactly.
So what is to come of this? Because to me, I'm sort of seeing it, you can almost set your watch by it. Is this or is this not just a big, giant, get-out-the-vote effort for Democrats? Because that's what every election cycle, you see something like this. If it's not Occupy, then it's this.
Yeah. You know, this one, though, here's what concerns me, Dana. You know, on my show, I often have, my radio show, I have intelligence and law enforcement experts. And I've got a source who's about the best in the world at identifying what happens to prison converts of Islam once they leave prison here in the U.S. In fact, his day job is teaching our special operators how to identify these people on the battlefield. And we were talking, and the concern now is that in the U.S. we convert about 30 to 35,000 prisoners to Islam yearly, the majority black, in the 90% range. Conservatively, about 1% are radical, about 300, 350. We know through police intelligence, confidential informants, parole, probation, corrections, many of these people are aligning with the Black Lives Matter movement. So when I tweet out, and people like you and others, Jim Hoff, speculate that, hey, there's terror influences within Black Lives Matter, it is factually correct. There is intelligence to support that. So that's what concerns me, that this might be a little bit more than just a get-out-to-vote movement, that this unrest can really be used for nefarious gain.
I see a lot of pieces on the board in play. John Cardillo, find him on Twitter at John Cardillo, johncardillo.com. John, thanks so much.
Thank you, Dana.